This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha here. I'm in Huatuco, Mexico. Just finished my run. I'm sitting in a beautiful park and had a few things I thought about when I was running I wanted to share with you. So there's levels of consciousness. I'll call them levels because that's a concept that you understand, but I'm not sure they're limited by that. It's more continuous, in other words, between the levels. But at some point in your life, probably when you're adolescent, I would guess, you become consumed by your point of view. You're no longer as much a sponge of your environment. You become more of you have a complete model of the universe and you believe it into existence, and you call it yourself. You call it yourself. And it includes everything, the people you know, your family, your religion, your political preferences, your favorite ice cream, and that's your identity, if you will. And it gets more concrete, and you start living from this reactive personality, and you have pre-programmed ways of how you handle situations. And because life doesn't turn out always like the model says it should, like sometimes you work hard and it doesn't work out. Sometimes you don't work hard and it does work out. Sometimes your plans work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes something just gets dumped in the middle of your path that you weren't anticipating, and you get upset about life. It could be minor things, could be a major thing, it could be a parking spot, could be a relationship that ends, could be your spouse's inability to understand what you're talking about or appreciate your point of view or to be the person you thought they were. Anytime what shows up in life isn't how you think it should be, the contrast is that paradigm of the universe that you've created in your mind of what the universe actually is, and you become angry because it doesn't show up that way. And you blame people and things and places because they didn't follow the rules the way that you perceive them to be. And so you have upset in your life. And the way out of those situations, if you're going to have a plan to get out of those situations, you have to accept the facts as they are and make a new plan. What humans tend to do is remain in denial about the facts the way they are. They remain in denial of the facts, and they continue to assert their position as if the new facts have no place. But the truth is, the way things are is the true, if there is such a thing, is the true universe. The way things are is the universe. The way things we want them to be, and that we're upset that they're not that way, that's a fiction that we're promoting, and we're calling it injustice because it's not the way we want it to be. And the problem is, whenever we resist what is, we freeze it in place. So by resisting what is, you're pushing against something that's in the facts that you don't like. And what that does is bring it meaning and reinforces it. And that's why awareness, in the Buddhist sense, creates a flow dynamic in your life. Because awareness is acceptance of what's, so it's acceptance of what is now. And not just the acceptance of it, but the awareness of it. We can sometimes even be in denial about what's so. And so if we can be aware of it first and accept it, and accept it's just another way of not denying it. You hear the word acceptance. Wait a second, there's a car in the middle of the freeway and I need to get to work. I'm not accepting this car. I'm going to get in the other lane and go around it. So you're not accepting. It's not an approval of the facts and embracing it. What it's doing is just not objecting to it. It's where life flows. You are aware you're pulling up on a car that's stuck in the middle of the freeway, and you look, and because you've accepted that, you're not getting angry at the driver for being in the middle of the freeway stopped. You look left, you look right. There's an open lane. You move into a lane. You flow around it. Whereas you'll see people pull up behind a car like that and start honking their horn. They're stuck in a universe where there's no car in front of them. They're not in the universe where there's a car in the middle of the freeway. And that's kind of how you have to see life. You have to remain eyes open, aware, and you have to accept in a these are the facts sense, not I prefer these facts or I don't prefer these facts, but just accept it in these are the facts sense. And then you can look left and right and decide what move to make. And so awareness is what people try to achieve with meditation or yoga. And said another way, it's sort of the receipt of information building in the environment around you, or existing, or being added, or unfolding. It's without allowing your personality to stop you and force you back into a universe that doesn't exist. So when people first find awareness in their life, I'm not saying everyone does, but you will at death, but you might during your life. If you can live in the awareness space that Buddha's pointing at, or others, there's many gurus around the world that are talking about present moment awareness. Pick one that communicates in a way that you find interesting and listen to what they have to say. But if you find yourself in that space, when it first happens, you start to think that you need to go towards whatever guru, whoever it was that taught it to you, and that they're the only way in. But eventually you have to find your own way into that space, whether it's through meditation, yoga, or just waking up and being able to become awake again anytime you fall asleep. In the awareness sense, I don't mean sleeping at night. And so you'll have periods where you're aware and it's peaceful and it feels really good, and you and then something will happen in your life that where you go into a denial of the universe in some way, and you go dark, and you live in your personality in a reactive state. And as that goes, as you flip back and forth from those two spaces, after a while you realize there's certain things or people that you noticed were around when you went dark, and you'll want to avoid those people. You'll be like, hey, I got to get away from these people. But as you move up in consciousness, those are actually the most, in some respects, the most valuable people to have around you, because when you're first dark and you find the awareness, or you find the light, if you will, you'll see whatever happened as the key to getting back into it, and you'll only want to be around that. Basically, your mind or your personality is what drags you back under eventually into the darkness, because it's right about what it believes, and it doesn't. It's not movable. It denies what's so. And so it's really your mind you're trying to not listen to deeply once you're in an awareness state. And so you can be in the awareness state, and your personality, or I'll call it your mind, can speak, and you can stay in awareness. That's kind of a middle place where you're both in the awareness space, and yeah, you hear what your personality has to say about life. And then it may talk for a while and then shut up, and you're back in pure awareness. So, but going dark is when you have no awareness anymore. You're just pure reactive personality. This is what happens when you get like in a fight with your spouse, or you're yelling at a driver in another car, or you pull up on the freeway and you're yelling at a car that's stuck in the middle of the freeway. What are you doing? I'm trying to get to work. That's pure reactive personality stuff. And what happens is, as you become more mature in your awareness, is that you're able to get back into it when you get into trouble more quickly, and live in it more. Maybe a higher percentage of the time you can live in awareness, and eventually even begin to spend more time in pure awareness, not even with your mind not even having much to say about what you're observing. It's just sort of dormant. And so kind of the final challenge when you're flipping back and forth between pure awareness and a mind, listen to mind awareness, that's when you almost need these disturbances to try to force you back into mind so you can see it. And it's sort of like your mind knows all these tricks to get attention, to take away your awareness. And the awareness never leaves. It's just the mind is able to consume all of the perception. And awareness doesn't have any peripheral vision around what your mind's saying, because it's fully consumed by noise the mind's making. And what's interesting about a person who you find annoying, or if you're in a relationship with a person who's not aware, is you can clearly watch them, and then you can watch them create a reaction in yourself, and then you can watch yourself get out of that reaction. And so in some senses, when people say, oh, it's better, only be in a relationship with someone aware. Well, first of all, there's not that many out there, truthfully, in any meaningful sense. And second of all, you're not really developing that muscle if you're just hanging around meditating all day. You need to actually be in the world to really wake up in a meaningful sense that you have control over. You have to be challenged, because you have, if you will, there's a mind muscle that pulls you back under, because you believe so strongly in whatever it is you believe in. And there's things in the world all the time that question that, and that you can react to and go dark on. So to get that strength, to really be the Buddha, if you will, you have to have those challenges in your life. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible just to, you here and there about people just totally wake up 100% and never go back or have a second thought, or their mind never speaks again. Don't read about it much, honestly, but at least people say that. And maybe that happens to you and you're fine. That's cool. But if you're more like me, awareness is more of a continuum. You're going to slide up and down that scale between just total unawareness of that you're anything other than your personality to complete awareness, where you're just in the world and your mind isn't even speaking or trying to get your attention. So, to make a long story short, I think just trying to give you the negative view of getting rid of negativity in your life, because without that, now I'm calling it negativity, but it really isn't negativity. It's just something that gets you to react. Without someone or something being able to get you to react, you can't really build that muscle that will pull you back to awareness. So what I'm saying is, that shouldn't be your goal in life. That said, if you're new and you have someone you're completely reactive to, you're going to want to spend a few hours a day away from them, and really develop not a memory, but a true sense of what awareness is. So when you're not in it, it's available to you. And anyway, thanks for come get a free copy of my ebook, I Am Happy, an Owner's Manual for the Human Mind. And don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for listening. This is Dan of Vagabond Buddha.